Thanks for tuning in to Unbreakable with Chris Chamasairos. I talk about politics, sports, and entertainment to keep you well rounded. What's going on around the world? If you don't like hearing the truth, definitely don't tune into this channel. So let's get started today. So before I start, I want to say I am a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. I have a whole other channel dedicated to the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is my political channel with other sports teams and entertainment and worldly issues. So I just want to make my feelings clear so you know where I'm coming from. So the Pittsburgh Steelers, the liberal fans were upset because Mason Rudolph, Miles Killebrew, and Rocky Bleier came out to support President Trump at a rally. President Trump came to Pittsburgh to tell the people of Pittsburgh about the tariffs he's going to put on China so America will become dependent on steel made in America and made in the great steel city itself in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And what do liberal fans do? Instead of being happy that their community is going to thrive again, that the steel mills will be open, running full steam and creating steel like those once great mills used to create, what do the liberals do in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania? The liberal Steelers fans, they get mad and write letters to the Pittsburgh Steelers organization, Art Rooney, and complain and whine like the crybaby communists they truly are. See, this is why, and I say this all the time when I talk about politics. Democrats could literally promise me every single year a brand new house, a brand new car, and $1 million, and I would still never vote Democrat a day in my life. And this is one of the prime example reasons why. So you're mad that 3 American citizens, free citizens that are Pittsburgh Steelers, went to support the president that they want to support, and you write letters and you want them to be silenced and you're upset. But it's okay when you support Joe Biden with his open borders, his open crime wave, allowing terrorists to walk free into our country. Nobody has a clue where they are. High inflation, crime out of control, but you're okay with that. But you don't want Pittsburgh Steelers to show their support for President Trump. You absolutely make me sick. All of you. Listen, this is not the Pittsburgh Steeler way. If you don't like it, you know what team you should go root for? Go root for a team in Los Angeles. Go root for a team in New York. Go root for a team in California. You see what I'm getting at, don't you? If you want to silence people, if you want to be a communist, if you want to be a commie, if you want to be a Marxist, because that's what that is. President Trump comes to the Steel City and announces that America will be dependent on American steel made in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, the Steel City, the original birthplace of steel. And you have liberal Steelers fans that are crying and whining, and they don't understand why certain players on the Steelers would support the greatest president to ever live, President Trump. You don't like it. You want these players to be cut. How dare they? You make me sick. You all make me sick. You're just a complete joke. You're probably the same fans that think that the game is too violent. I guarantee I could spot these fans out a million miles away the way they act at the games. You could always tell. So let's see what the Pittsburgh Steelers organization had to say about Miles Killebrew, Mason Rudolph, and Rocky Bleier supporting President Trump. We value your thoughts. The recent Pittsburgh rally sparked varied reactions. Players' choices reflect their views, not always the organization's. Yeah, whatever. It's just absolutely pathetic. See, you always have to Do conservatives do this type of garbage? Do you think a conservative would ever really write a letter to the team about a player supporting a Democratic candidate? I seriously doubt it. Because you know what conservatives do when we don't like something? We just turn the channel, we turn the page, and we move on. You know what Democrats and liberals do? They want people to be canceled. They want people to be cut from the team. They want people to lose their season tickets. You're spineless, communist, Marxist worms. You're such cowards that you don't even like when people have different opinions than you do. But you're all about freedom. Type of nation you want to live in is a communist nation. If you want to live like that, where you get to silence your political party, go move to Russia, move to China, move to Cuba, root for a new team, and get a life. President Trump, he looks awesome with the Pittsburgh Steelers jersey, the number 47, of course. You know what's the worst part about this? Not just that the Steelers fans were sending letters to the organization, is that Art Rooney felt like he needed to give them an answer, that he had to make them feel good. Well, we don't necessarily support President Trump. It's just like, you know what? If I'm Mark Rooney, you know what I would tell the fans? Shut the F up. If you don't like it, too bad. This is America. This is the land of the free, the home of the brave. People are allowed to support who they want to support. But of course, the Pittsburgh Steelers have to give a politically correct letter back to the crybaby, spineless worm fans that had a problem with this. When is it going to come to the point in America, like the good old days, when somebody's just totally out of line and thinks they can attack you or silence you or get you fired from your job because you have a different political view? When are we going to go back to the good old days of just telling somebody, shut the F up? Because that's what it should have been done. Art Rooney shouldn't even have addressed this. It's America. They're not doing anything illegal. Who am I to even comment on? I wouldn't even address this if I'm the owner of the team. It's absolutely ridiculous that everybody has to respond to crybaby, racist Democrats and liberals every time they complain about something, which is literally every second of the day, because they're offended by everything. They're offended, but there's nothing that they're not offended about. You absolutely make me sick. And I don't think Art Rooney should have even addressed any of this. He should have let bygones be bygones and let all the crybaby liberal Democrats cry their eyes out, because that would have pissed them off even more. It's like every time a Democrat cries, they feel like somebody owes them a response because they have no emotional control whatsoever and they get all emotional. It's like grown men acting like the biggest woman on the planet with high estrogen. And that's exactly what's going on. Shouldn't you be celebrating President Trump wanting to make Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, the Steel City? I mean, it's always been magnificent and always will be. But could you imagine the mines up and running again, giving people of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania great paying jobs so they can make a living like it? That's how it was back in the day. Shouldn't you be celebrating this? But no, Democrats, they don't like somebody. So the mine shouldn't open. China should make the steel. We should be dependent on our enemies for everything, all because you don't like President Trump, because he's the man you never could be. And I'm going to end it with that. Thanks for tuning in to Unbreakable with Chris Chamasairos.